This week you were given a pre-assessment on a very special type of writing, an extended constructed response. You were given a narrative prompt and were asked to finish the story. This is a special type of writing where you should use many components of the original work in your response. Today I want to show you a different response prompt, and I want to show you examples from real students. I'll also show you a rubric to show you how these students were assessed. These students were given a very short passage. They were then asked the following question. Imagine that you are a Livermore firefighter in 1903. Write an original story in which a firefighter convinces the fire chief to take the Centennial light bulb with them when they move to Station 1. Use ideas from a bright little worker to develop your story. These students were then given a narrative writer's checklist. This checklist includes all of the components that they should have in their narrative constructed response. Review these for a moment. See any narrative techniques that are familiar? I bet you spotted dialogue, transition words, characters, conclusions. All of these are narrative writing techniques that the scorers will use to assess their work. This is the rubric that the scorers use to assess each student's response. Take a moment to look at these rubrics. Study them carefully. I now want you to click on the Flipgrid button on your Friday plan sheet to record a video sharing what you noticed in this rubric. How is this different from other writing we've done in the past? How is it similar? I also want you to come up with one question you have about this rubric. Include that in your first video on Flipgrid. After you finish your first Flipgrid video, I want you to check out some exemplars. Yes, we're going to look at some real student examples. This first response scored a 4, which is the highest score you can for an extended constructed response. Read through this student's response. Now I want you to hop over to Flipgrid and record another video explaining why you think this response scored so highly. Take a look back at that rubric to see what it takes to get 4 points. When you're finished your recording, don't submit it just yet. Pause your Flipgrid video. We have a few more responses to look at. This student's response scored a 3. Take a look at it. Then head back over to Flipgrid and record onto your last video, adding why you think this student response scored a 3. What is this response lacking that the first response had? Take a look at this response. Grab that rubric. Can you figure out why this response scored a level 2? Record your findings on your Flipgrid video. Last but not least, take a look at this student response. Any ideas why this response only received 1 point? Use the rubric to share your thinking. Now that you've viewed and recorded 2 videos on Flipgrid, I want you to think about your pre-assessment. I want you to set one goal for yourself as a narrative writing writer. What area do you want to improve on your next response?